Hi there. We here at Oslo Meditation are very happy to present this lecture given by our friend and guest Balakiadas. We asked him to speak on a topic lost in the world, and as always, he delivers a deep and thorough presentation on this subject. At the end of this lecture, there was a longer question and answer session, and we decided to release this as a separate video, and you will find the link to this in the description.
Thank everybody for coming. Now what? Okay, so yeah, we're going to speak a little bit about lost in the world. But first, we're going to do a simple meditation called Garanga breathing meditation. I know some of you know how to do this, maybe some don't, so it's very easy. I'll explain it. But I always begin my programs by offering my respectful obeisances to my spiritual master, Siddhasarupananda Paramahamsa. And I speak from the platform of Bhakti Yoga. And in the Bhakti Yoga system, our meditation is around the transcendental sounds or mantras. Mantras are very special. They come from the spiritual world, descend into this material world. Now, because they come from the spiritual realm, they bring with them great spiritual power. Therefore, when I come in contact with transcendental sound, I receive great spiritual benefit. So it's the easiest of all meditations, but at the same time, the most effective. The mantra we'll be using for this meditation is the mantra Gauranga. And we will divide it into 4 syllables, Go, Ra, Ang, Ga. And just to familiarize ourselves with that, let's all just repeat it a couple of times. I say, then everyone respond. Okay? Go, Ra, Ang, Ga.
Go Ra Anga.
Go, Ra, Ang, Ga.
Go Ra Anga.
Great. Now our technique is a deep breathing technique. First, we will inhale through the nose slowly and gently, but very deeply. Take the air all the way down to the lower abdomen and then fill from the bottom up. As we inhale, silently in the mind, we chant Go, Ra, Ang, Ga. And when you chant in the mind, chant very softly and gently. As you know, we can do many things in the mind. We can be angry in the mind. We can scream in the mind. No. Softly and gently, almost like a whisper. Go, Ra, Ang, Ga, in the mind. Now, gradually the body fills with air, and then we begin to exhale. And then out loud we chant, Go, Ra, Ang, Ga. And then we repeat. Inhale, Garanga in the mind. Exhale, Garanga out loud. Before we begin, we want to relax. Now, there's certain areas in the body that accumulate a lot of tension. One of the main areas is the face. There's so much tension in the face. For instance, the forehead. Relax the forehead. Around the eyes. Jaws. See, it's actually said we should be so relaxed that our teeth never touch each other except when we chew. But what do? Grind our teeth, clench our teeth. Very good for the dentist, not so good for us. So relax the jaws, the whole face. Then the neck, we get tension, headaches from the neck, relax the neck, shoulders, the chest, etc. Now, to assist us in doing this, we take in a big breath and let it out through the nose. Now, with the outgoing breath, Let your fear, your stress, your anxiety, your tension go away with the breath. While we do the meditation, we want to listen closely to the sound and also put the mind on the sound. Meditate on the sound. During the meditation, we always suggest you close your eyes because this helps us to relax more deeply, and it also prevents distraction. If you like, you can join the thumb and first finger like this. This also helps us to relax more deeply. It triggers a relaxation response in the body. And it also assists in the circulation of energy. And most important, you look cool. And when we finish, just sit quietly for a few moments, eyes remaining closed, and feel the effect. Okay? Everybody ready? Just follow my guidance. Take a big breath, let it out, and relax. And now very slowly, gently and deeply inhale and chant Gauranga in the mind. Two more times. Haribol. Okay, so you can see very easy meditation to do. And of course it's very relaxing. But don't forget, the most important is the spiritual benefit. So we're always recommending add this to your life. Start your day, Garanga meditation. End the day, Garanga meditation. Or you can do it anytime. So easy, so simple, you can fit it in many places. So it's yours. Take it home. Okay, so I'd like to make it clear everything I present is based on the teaching of the Vedic scriptures. The Vedas are the most ancient scriptures. Actually, they were written down 5,000 years ago. However, the knowledge itself is eternal. So prior to being written down, it was passed down orally through a line of perfect teachers or masters. And this lineage is known as a disciplic succession or a parampara. And this is necessary for the truth to descend in its pure form. No matter how pure the source, if it passes through an impure medium, it becomes impure. So this lineage is critical. We are in the parampara known as the Brahma Sampradaya. And we feel very fortunate to receive our knowledge through this lineage. So I didn't come to give you my opinion. I'm just passing on this eternal science. So our topic today is lost in the world. But to understand this topic or any topic based on spiritual truth, we must know who we are. And unfortunately, that's a rare occasion. We don't really know who we are. We think we do. Pretty convinced of that. Unless it's maybe Sunday morning after a big Saturday night party when you wake up like, who am I? I don't know. Can't remember. But other than that, we think, yeah, I know who I am. I mean, I got my passport, I got my driver's license, I got this, that, whatever. But the truth is, it's most always incorrect because we think we're the material body. So our identity is based on the body. I'm male, I'm female, I'm young, I'm old, I'm black, I'm white, I'm Norwegian, I'm American. I'm a teacher, I'm a lawyer, I'm whatever. All these things, mother, father, whatever. So, this is the identity that we carry around. This is the external identity. But this is just describing the physical body. Then we have another identity. That's the one inside, the mental body, where we find our desires, our emotions, our feelings, our will. And we say, oh, this is who I am, my desires, I am my feelings. But again, this is incorrect because this is just a subtler layer of material energy. We are in a different category of energy. Actually, in the Vedic scriptures, it describes our two layers as like two layers of clothing. We got our outer layer, physical body. We got our under layer, mental body. Over us. And who are we? We are in the category of spiritual energy. A tiny little spark of spiritual energy. And we learn that material energy is temporary. That's why the bodies are so temporary. They come and go so quickly. But we learn that spirit is eternal. So really, I am eternal. Eternal means no beginning and no end. So that's me, an eternal person. We also learn that material energy is non-living. So, we are in the body, but the body's dead. It's not living. We are the life force because spirit is life itself. There's no such thing as live matter. There's no such thing as dead spirit. So we're the life force in the body. As long as we're in the body's called alive. But that's not correct. The body's dead. I'm alive. And that's what happens at the time of death. I leave the body, then the body reveals its true nature. Can't even sit in a chair. Falls on the floor. So our true identity is spirit soul. Spirit meaning we're spiritual in essence. Soul meaning this individual spiritual spark that we eternally are. We never become someone else, and we also never cease to exist. I know for some people this is very depressing news. What? I'll always be me? Yes, but when we learn the truth about life, this becomes very wonderful news. And in addition, we must understand that we are a part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. There is a Supreme Soul from which we all come. We are known as the Atma. And the Supreme Soul is the Paramatma. Now, with this understanding, we can discuss any topic about life from a spiritual perspective and get a true understanding of the issue. So tonight we're going to talk a little about lost in the world. Has anybody ever been lost? Like physically, like out in the forest or in the mountains or something. Anybody been lost? I mean really lost, not just like, oh, I mean really. I was one time. You too. Oh, good. It's good. It wasn't so good. Yeah, I remember one time I was in Hawaii. I lived in Hawaii a long time. And on the island of Kauai, which is the northernmost island, there's a high section. It's actually over 2,000 meters high. And everything is different up there. Vegetation is different, the temperatures are different. It gets kind of cold at night sometimes. And there's a mountain there called Mount Waialeale. And believe it or not, it's the wettest place on the planet. It gets more rain than any other place. Has its own weather system. And as a result of that, there's a big swamp at the base. And so myself and a couple of friends were on a little hike in this swamp. And I don't know exactly how it happened, but there's little trails going everywhere made by wild pigs. So I just walked down one of these trails and they went somewhere else. And after some time, I recognized, I don't know exactly where I am. But I thought, oh, no worries, I'll just keep walking. I thought I knew, but came to be I didn't. I kept walking. Then I realized, where am I? And then I saw some tracks. Tracks. I'll follow these tracks out. Then I realized it's my tracks. You know how they say, when you're lost, you go in a circle? It's true. So it's that point when I knew I'm really lost. So the first thing of being lost is to recognize I'm lost. Because if you don't know you're lost, you think you got no problem. When you realize you're lost, you got a problem. So the first thing about being lost in the world is recognize I'm lost. Sometimes we experience that, don't we? Like, I've heard it many times from people, I feel so lost. You know? And it's true, we do. And truly speaking, we are lost in the world. So now we're going to play a little video clip. It's short, 3 minutes and something. But it's quite interesting. It's, illustrated, animated little clip. So here we go, Lost in the World. Turn it up. You get the idea? Unfortunately, it's too much reality there. So yeah, we're lost in the world. It doesn't mean we're lost alone. There's so many people around, but we're still feeling lost. You know, a definition of lost is you don't know where you are and you don't know where you're going. And so when we recognize that, then often we will seek a solution. Like when I knew I was lost, I started looking for a solution, how to get out of here. You know, the ending of my story was pretty simple. You know, I just kept calling out once in a while, and my friends became close enough. We connected, and then, you know, we got back together and went out. But in life itself is not always so simple. You know, who we call out to? You know, when everybody's lost, who do you call out to? Oh, it's better to be lost with a group than it's alone, but you're still lost. The group is still lost. I'm still lost alone. It's either way. So that's why we need some information about, number one, who we are. If I don't know who I am, really, I'm spirit soul, I'm not this body, and I spend my whole life in pursuit of a material goal, trying to make myself happy, because again, that's the need of every single person. Everybody's real natural condition is happiness. See, as a spirit soul, we have certain characteristics. We could call them inherent characteristics. Like an inherent characteristic of water is wetness. You can't separate wetness from water. Can't separate heat and light from fire. In the same way, we, the spirit souls that we are, have certain inherent characteristics and certain needs. So it's the nature of the soul to be happy. That's why when we're not happy, it feels wrong. It doesn't feel good. And that's why every single living entity is searching for happiness. And when I say living entity, I now include other souls in other bodies other than humans. Many times we think of people as humans. See? But many of you have dogs. All of us have had experience with dogs. And does a dog not like to be happy too? See, of course they do. They like the same things we like. They like to be comfortable. They like to be loved. They like to have a purpose, etc., etc. So that's because we're all spiritual souls with the same needs. But in the human body, excuse me, my throat is not as good as it was when I was a little bit younger. Actually, a week ago it was better. And tomorrow maybe it'll be different. But anyway, we are all looking for happiness and how to find it. If I think I'm the body, where am I going to look? In material pleasures. And how do we make the body happy, which I now consider to be myself? By the senses, bringing pleasure to my senses. We have our group of senses, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our tongue, sense of touch, which includes the genital. And that becomes the focus in life. What am I going to see? What am I going to hear? Looking for the pleasant things. Smell the pleasant things. Taste the nice food. The sense of touch. The nice warm things that I like, and so on. And that becomes my pursuit in life. So if I'm lost, I think I'm lost because I don't have all these sensual pleasures. But really, if I have all of those, I gratify those senses in a positive way. Of course, those same senses bring us pain as well. The beautiful things bring me pleasure. The ugly things bring me pain. The great sounds I like bring me pleasure. The horrible sounds make me sad. The smells, the taste, etc. So the senses are always reacting to pleasure or pain, and I'm the experiencer of that. And then the mind, we always involve the mind completely. The mind is called the sixth sense, and they're all working together so I can experience happiness. And maybe I get a combination that's working really well. But number one, it's temporary, you see. And number two, doesn't really make me happy. There's a lot of people on the planet with all the facilities, and they're miserable. Why? Because it doesn't make me, the spirit soul, happiness. Material pleasure can never make the soul happy. And so that's why those who have knowledge, the great sages, the saints, the wisdom that's been passed down since time immemorable, our spiritual masters, they reveal to us the truth. You know, it is you, the spirit soul, that is searching for happiness. But because you don't know who you are, you'll never find it in your efforts. There's a teaching by our spiritual master. And in the little quote that he has, he's talking about suffering. And of course, in the Vedic scriptures, the material world is described as, you know, an ocean of misery, a place of suffering. And everybody experiences that to greater or lesser degrees. And so we're always trying to avoid that. See, that becomes another pursuit, trying to avoid the pain and, you know, get increased pleasure. But he says suffering in the material world is not unnatural. See, it feels wrong. Suffering doesn't feel right. But he says suffering is not unnatural, it's natural. What is unnatural is the soul being in the material world. So that's the problem, me being in the material world. And the example is given oftentimes of a fish. A fish is an aquatic. And as soon as we remove the fish from the water, the fish begins to suffer. And there's no way you can help that fish. He flops, he gasps, and you come and you feel compassion for this fish. You feel sorry. Can I help you? So you're thinking, so you don't have full understanding. You're thinking, oh, Mr. Fish, you're not having a good day. See, let me see. I want you to have some fun. Let's go to the movies. Jaws is playing. You're going to like it. Fish gasp. How about going out to eat? There's a good seafood restaurant right around the corner. Shopping. I know, we'll go shopping. I'll take you. You can get anything you want. I got a lot of room on my card. See, shopping makes everybody feel better. Didn't work. How about a party? We'll go to a party. I know a lot of people, you'll have a good time. Doesn't work. Why? Because those are material solutions. Let's say it another way. Those are terrestrial solutions. The fish is an aquatic. There is a solution, however. You take the fish, put him back in the water. All problems solved. But if the fish didn't know it was an aquatic, then it will just spend its life suffering, trying to find some happiness on land. And if somebody comes along and tells the fish, you know, you're an aquatic, of course you're having a hard day. You know, why don't you go to the water? No, I don't believe in the water. Or, what are you trying to do? Tell me what to do? Leave me alone. I'm okay. Hey, it's rain in the forecast. You know, rains a little bit. Oh, see, I feel good. See a little shower, I feel pretty good. Then the sun comes out suffering again. So, again, the fish will always suffer. We're like that fish out of water. But we don't know that. This is the problem. We don't know that. So the spiritual masters, the great teachers, those who actually know our problem and know the solution, they come to tell us what we should do. It's like when you're lost and you meet somebody, you don't know where you are, but they do. You don't know how to get out, but they do. If you're smart, you're going to say, oh, wow, thank you, let's go. See? Take me. Take me to safety. Take me to security. Solve my problem. But again, if you're arrogant and think, oh, don't tell me where to go. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. You miss a good opportunity. So the spiritual master comes. He's empowered with this knowledge, with this truth. He's realized the truth. He tells us our problem, first who we are. The problem is a spiritual problem, not a material problem. See, your spirit soul. Don't try to solve a spiritual problem with a material solution, but you can't do it. You can solve material problems with material solutions. But a material problem cannot be solved. A spiritual problem will not be solved by a material solution. So they give us this information and they begin to educate us. They begin to tell us these truths. Why is it that the world is so involved in education? There's universities everywhere. So many institutions of education, from kindergarten up to advanced degrees. Because everybody knows knowledge is a good thing. One time I was driving through the States, and Interstate 40, it runs from California to North Carolina on the East Coast. And in the state of Tennessee, I was driving along, and every 50 miles or so, that'd be 80 kilometers, or something like this, there'll be a big sign that said, no education equals no future. And of course, they were putting out the message, don't quit school, go to school, get an education, get your degrees, then you'll have a good future. That's a material concept. But everybody's got a future. See, no education equals no future. Everybody's got a future. But what will the future be like? And the more knowledge we have of the truth of life, the less lost we're going to be. And the less lost I am, the better my life will be. I'll know where I am, I'll know what to do, I know what the real goals are, etc., etc. And then I will have direction, and the Vedic teachings, the spiritual master, they're the teachers. It's interesting, when you go to school, since we're talking about schools, immediately you get two things. What do you get? You get books, and you get a teacher, right? We all went to school, that's what we had, books and a teacher. So when we come to spiritual life, somehow we think, I don't need any of that stuff. I'm my own teacher and I don't need books. So we make a mistake. No, we do need books. And these Vedic teachings are the books. And we need a teacher, the spiritual teacher, the spiritual master. And with those two items, we'll call them, or that equipment, that opportunity, we learn. And the more I learn, the more I see things as they are. And then I see, I'm not really lost, I'm misplaced. I shouldn't be where I am, but I know where I should be. I now know who I am. And then I understand what I should do with my life. See, this is a huge question mark from most people, actually, from birth till death. What to do with my life, especially in the formative years when we're trying to decide, what am I going to do? What are you going to be when you grow up? But really, it's all again materially based. So when I know who I am and what I should be going, or which direction I should be taking in life, that's huge. That's a big thing. And when I embark on that spiritual journey, the feeling of that is very special, very different. When I'm just going down the road that everybody else is going on, you know, and what's trending and what's cool and what's not. And, you know, I see the results of other people's journeys and I see the struggles and so on, but I'm just going the same way as well. You see, well, that's not the best feeling. Like in the video we just watched. At the end, I don't know if you noticed, but all these people were just going down and going off a cliff. Did you notice that? Or in the opening when they were just walking, falling in a manhole. Everybody's just going, and yeah, the phones have taken over our life and control us completely. So we've become victims of all of these things. Modern technology has, you know, taken us in many ways in the wrong direction. And it takes us away from the real understandings of life. We're too involved. See? Like the little guy that was lost, he couldn't even communicate with anybody. Nobody communicates. I mean, all of those things are based on fact. It's not some illusion. But here we are, lost in that world. It's been, you know, presented to us. And we suffer as a result. And the whole thing comes to an end at a certain period of time. For some people sooner, for some people later, but these bodies we're in, they don't last very long, and then we got to leave. But are we ready for the journey? Have we prepared? Have we done our homework? Do we know where we're going? Have we thought about where we're going? See? And in most cases, it's just an incorrect understanding of this inevitable event. It's like, number one, I'm in denial. It's not going to happen to me. Oh yeah, I know, but not today, not tomorrow, not this hour. See, I'll live a little longer. We're always just kind of denying that truth. Whereas the Vedas tell us we should prepare for that. We should know who we are. We should know about what happens when we leave the body. All of this knowledge of the next station we'll go to, reincarnation, birth, death, old age, disease, all these truths we should focus on, we should embrace, we should learn about it, we should be of interest to us because it's us. See, it's really important, but we don't, because that's not where the world is going. That's not the emphasis. So we walk along through life, going wherever we go. Karma comes along, takes us here, takes us there. Our journey ends, and then we're just going to an unknown sphere that we know when we're there, and it starts all over again and again. We don't have to be lost. We don't need to be lost. The information is there. The road map is there. If you have a map, you don't get lost. I mean, now with GPS, it's hard to get lost. Even in the mountains, you know, everybody's got a GPS locator, and if you get lost, you just send your, you know, location, emergency, and then they come get you. But that's not going to work when we're coming to the end of the journey in this lifetime. So we need to think about these things. So again, the first step forward is to recognize I'm lost, or at least be receptive to the idea. Maybe I don't really recognize it, or I don't feel it, but I'm a little receptive to the concept. I'm thinking, So at some point, maybe something will shake us a little bit, wake us up a little bit, and we start contemplating something a little deeper, a little more important, something of a little more value. And once we begin to question, then solutions begin to come. Answers begin to appear. Because it's known. What I want is what I get. This is a fact. What I want is what I get, you know. And so if I want all these things, material life and all the things that go with it, I'll get it. See? What it may be, it may not be exactly how I want it to be, but I'll get my material results. And if I want spiritual knowledge, spiritual help, spiritual opportunities, spiritual awakening, spiritual realization, spiritual feelings, I'll get that too. Because it's known. See, I get what I want. It's known. It's not like a secret that only I know. See, the Lord in the heart knows everything. And He sees what I want, and He, provides me with just that. So if I like it here, I want to stay here. If the fish doesn't want to go back in the water, okay. But I was given this same lecture, they never come out the same, but anyway, in Tromsø last week. And so the question came up, okay, so what is the water? What's the water for the fish? And good question, because the water is the spiritual world. You see, we don't understand these two worlds. There's the material world, and we're in it now. It's comprised of innumerable universes, and in each universe there's innumerable planets. And we're in one universe on one small planet called Earth. It's always interesting to me how we think, oh, we're the only life. Look at all those stars. We're the only one. Or do you think it's possible they spend $1 zillion to go have a look? There's life everywhere. There's life on every planet. We're on one planet called Earth. In one body called human. Going about the same thing that everybody else is trying to find happiness and pleasure and satisfaction and love. So, here we are, and it's not working too well. It's not the best place to be. There's another whole world, a dimension known as the spiritual world. And that's where we belong. That's where we come from. And that's where we need to return to. The fish came from the water. It didn't start on land. It came from the water. Wound up on the land. Solution, go back to the water. We came from the spiritual world. Now we're here in the material world. But the journey should be return to the spiritual world. That's the solution. No more problems. All problems solved. In fact, the spiritual world is known as the Vaikuntha world. A Sanskrit word, Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means no anxiety. The world of no anxiety. And the material dimension is known as the Kunta dimension, the world of constant anxiety. We're always in anxiety, right? It's a big thing now that people are experiencing, in extreme degrees. Anxiety attacks, paralyzed by anxiety. We're always in anxiety to greater or lesser degrees. So there is a solution. The water is the spiritual world. The Bhakti Yoga system is a system given to us to make it possible to return and be free of all of this, to save ourselves, to no longer be lost in the material world, but to be in the spiritual world. There's a song that I sang as a kid, growing up in we'll call it the Christian world of spiritual pursuit. Anyway, the song was Amazing Grace. Some of you may have heard it, some not. But the lines, there's several verses, but one of the lines, Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I see. That's what we need. That's what does it. Amazing grace. And the mantras are that grace. Transcendental sound. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound. Transcendental sound. When we take that into our life, when we allow that to work, to purify us, to nourish us, to comfort us, to protect us, then we become found. I was blind, but now I see. It opens my eyes. My darkened eyes are opened, and now I see things as they are, not through the veil of illusion. So it's very easy, very readily available, and very, very effective, guaranteed to work. All we have to do is put ourselves in the presence of transcendental sound, just like the Garanga breathing meditation. Now, it doesn't require anything. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to have faith in it. You don't have to do anything but come in contact with the sound, and it works because it has invisible potency. When we go into the sun, I don't have to have faith to make the sun work. I get my vitamin D, I get all kinds of other benefits. I get, suntan if I don't stay out too long. I get burned if I do. And I don't make any of that happen. The sun does it automatically with its potency. So the mantras are like that. That's why in the Bhakti Yoga system, there's always this foremost encouragement. Take this transcendental sound, add it to your life. And you will see that many, many things will change. And your vision will change. You will see. I once was blind, but now I see. So those are just some general concepts, Sometimes we need the general concepts to kind of give us a little interest, a little spark, a little inspiration, a little wake up. And then from there we can go further. Somebody tells the fish the water is where you belong, it might start thinking, water, what's that all about? And he starts making some inquiries. He starts thinking about the water. And pretty soon, he may find himself back in the water. And he'll realize the little rain shower is not good enough. That's like the little material pleasure we experience. Oh, I feel pretty good. It's the new girlfriend, the new boyfriend, the new job, the new car, or whatever. Oh, I feel good today. That's the little rain shower. No, we need the full ocean, and we'll be satisfied. So that's about all I'm going to present right now. If anyone has some questions, we're going to try to make it possible to ask a few, and then we're going to have a little more meditation at the end.